Well, I think a major problem with how just kind of the human mind works is, we're granted the ability to create false realities in anticipation of what's actually going to happen. And I think what you're saying with like you fear the fear of something that may not even happen. You start bringing all these false, untrue hypotheticals into the situation that you start freaking out about, that you start really concerning yourself with, when it's probably not even going to happen, to be honest. I mean, what are the likelihood that these 15 horrible events you just came up with are all going to happen when you do this one thing or whatever? It's hard to really turn that off. You kind of have to examine yourself and kind of evaluate, why am I thinking this? Is this on a statistical level actually going to happen? And most of the time it's no. But your mind is going to naturally go to that worst case scenario as kind of a survival tactic, I think.
Yeah, that's why I love meditation so much, and I talk about it a lot on the podcast. Is that's one of the reasons, is that before I started meditation, I didn't realize how many stories that I told myself just on a daily basis, like things that would pop up in my thoughts that I just took as true, that I didn't realize it was just a story I was telling myself, and there was no actually evidence to suggest that. Like, for example, if a girl doesn't text me back or something, then I would maybe think, oh, like I said something dumb when I was with her, or she doesn't think I'm attractive, or she's banging my best friend, whatever. Like, it's just like something that your mind goes to, it latches on to the worst case scenario, and then the more you revisit that story, the worse and worse it feels. And then when you actually sit down on a pillow for 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is, and then those thoughts just kind of pool into your mind, and you start noticing them instead of just following them. Like, you notice the thought of, okay, I just assume that this girl doesn't think I'm attractive. What evidence do I have for that? And then you realize that there's none. It's kind of out of your control. You don't know why she didn't text you back, and so you can create a story to fit that perspective, or you can just say, fuck it, I have no idea why, and just leave it at that and go living your life. So I didn't start to notice just how many little things I would tell myself, and I still get caught up in it all the time. Like, it's so hard not to. It's not like meditation is this magic pill that just automatically makes you super wise or whatever, because I'm still dumb as fuck in a lot of ways, but I at least have some clearer insight into that storytelling ability of my own mind, like just running in the background at all times, kind of like spinning on this wheel. Like, if your brain has the chance to insert a story, it will, to kind of like make up for the evidence that you don't see, or that's just not there.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's interesting. I used to get caught up in that a lot. Just like creating these false stories in my head, and that, like, I mean, it really made me depressed for a while, and I still catch myself doing it, especially when it comes to girls. Like, I think that example you said is perfect. Like, if I don't hear back from a girl in a few hours or the day, I'm like, oh, like, I start reading back all the text messages. What did I say wrong? Like, was this the point that, like, kind of turned her off? Like, does she just not want to talk to me? Is it because I'm a bad person or whatever? And it's hard to train yourself to notice that, and to be like, and to push it aside. It's something that I'm still working on in myself, but I see that in a lot of people, especially some people that are close to me. They start creating the immediate negative reality when, sometimes that girl's just busy, or she's working, or she's hanging out with friends, and she just doesn't have time to message you back, and then it always feels good if they actually do message you back, and then all of those thoughts you had are immediately gone, and you're just like, oh, yay, I got a message.
Which now I also don't like, because I get that feeling too. Like, if someone doesn't text me back for 2 days, and I kind of write it off as, okay, she's never going to text me back, and then she does, and then I feel better, then I think to myself, well, if she didn't text me back, would I still be feeling like shit? And then I think, what a sad excuse, what a sad way to live, that my happiness was hinging on something out of my control, like a text message. So it does kind of bother me sometimes when I get a text. I don't know if bother me is the right word. I guess I just pay attention to it more now, where I get a text and I notice an elevation in my mood, and then I'm like, well, why am I happier now? Like, because she texts me back, or like, what is making me happy?
I mean, I think to some extent it's because we all want to feel wanted and loved and valued. And when you get a message from somebody that's saying that, like, hey, this person thought about you and wants to spend their time to talk to you, communicate with you. And I think that that's always just going to feel nice to some degree, you know, especially if it's someone you're also interested in. Because then you're like, oh, this person that I likes me or whatever. And at the end of the day, we all like validation and just attention. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. But
yeah, there's so many games that people play with each other over text.
Oh, dude. Oh,
like the human nature of texting is so fucking sick. And I do so much shit over text. Sometimes I don't even realize that I'm playing games with someone. It's just so ingrained in my mind, where I say, okay, I just got this text. I can't respond for this much time, or, you know, I can't send this many texts in a row, or I'm at this stage in a relationship with her, so I can't share this yet. So I'm going to make her think that I don't care when I actually want to say this, but I say something else. Like, all this shit that people do over text, that's like not actually what they want to do, but they're following this societal framework to do what they think other people view as normal.
Yeah, it's at one point I said, you know, fuck the games. I'm not going to play games. I'm going to be 100% open and honest. And then I started to realize that there's a reason there are these kind of games in place, is because, like, I mean, a lot of people really aren't prepared for just honesty, or, you know, it comes off as being too forward when I'm just saying, like, hey, this is how I feel about the situation or whatever. And so having those games adds that kind of like mystery and allure that keeps people coming back. And
yeah, like when the first ever text message that you sent me was just from the nipples down, completely naked, I was like, okay, I know what this dude's about. He's not trying to hide anything. Just exactly. Nipples down shot right away. So that must have been a stage.
You know, I tried that tactic with like 20 other people, and you were the only one who responded. So
yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down. Like, come over right now. Like, I'm ready to go. And then you came over with some cameras, and we've been working together ever since.
The true love story right there.
Yeah, the real footage has yet to be released. Maybe one day.
Behind the scenes.
What the fuck were we talking? Oh, text messaging. I was gonna say, sometimes, going back to the stories with talking to girls, I think sometimes you're right. It is good to have somewhat of a guard up and follow somewhat of the societal norms, because I think that also lets people know that you're normal and you're sane a lot. Like, sometimes if the first text I got from someone, or like really early on, is just like this open, like, just outpouring of feelings and just zero hiding, like, just everything's out in the open, sometimes that freaks me out, and I could see how that could freak other people out too, because it's like way too much right away. I think it's good to gradually unfurl yourself, like, and
like an onion.
Yeah, like, I think there's a difference between gradually letting people in and playing games. I think playing games is different than gradually letting people in. I think playing games is giving off a different intent than what you actually have. I think gradually showing yourself is more like, yeah, my intent is that I like you and I want to hang out with you, but I'm also just not going to completely trust you right off the bat. Like, that has to be mutually earned. That's going to happen over